Hi everyone, Coach Mike here from Afterburn Performance, and I'm looking today at burpees. So I get questions all the time from people why I discourage putting burpees in classes, or why I don't put them in metabolic classes, or why I don't have burpees as part of my program when I'm doing anything with the personal training side of things. And that's just because I really don't find burpees a useful tool in my toolbox of exercises. So the reason I find that because most people that are doing burpees, don't really do them well because they don't know how to do them, or they don't have the capacity to do them. So when I get them, we have people in our classes that are from all fitness backgrounds, all shapes, sizes, and I'm trying to get people to do exercise in a community way, or even in a training program way. I don't find that it's really helpful because I'm just putting people at risk for the most part, right? So to talk about my beef with burpees and what's the problem with them, I'm going to use a visualization here on the board, drawing it out with the marker, and get ourselves set up. So most people know you're going to start with your burpee, your hands up overhead, nice and tall, right? We're going to say this is Joe, right? Hands up nice and straight, leg out, right? And then we're going to get ourselves out in that sprawl position next, right? So you go back to the next position, and Joe is going to jump backwards. Get himself back here, arms down. Awesome, right? So when he goes back into that position, that's fine, no big deal. But the problem is when we sprawl back in this position, most people, rather than keeping this nice straight spine like we would have for a push-up, a plank, anything like that, we get a really big spinal arch. So, to kind of show you the negative part of it, right? Have the same guy, Joe, jumps back, he comes out, and then dips in his spine this way, bum, and then straight out, like that, right? So, this is not what we want, right? Because what we're happening here, if we think of the spine as kind of having our discs off the side here, and we have a nice little vertebrae, looks like a hockey puck, right, for hockey season. Then we have another one that's right below that, so here, circle. Imagine you have all these stacked up on our side, right? In the middle here, let's kind of color that in, is that intervertebral disc. So it's like a cushion, right? A shock absorber. But for the purpose of this metaphor, we're going to use it as this being two sides of the middle and having this as a jelly donut in the middle of that, right? So everyone knows a jelly donut, maybe a Tim Hortons Boston cream, right? Whatever. We've all had them before, right? That's sometimes why we're here. So what you're going to have to watch as, when I go back in this arch position, my discs here and my jelly donut in the middle, right, are gonna all of a sudden change. So instead of having them together like so, right, I'm gonna all of a sudden turn these hockey pucks to the side like this. Right? So as we can see here, right, I know I'm not Bob Ross or anything like that, but what we can see here is that we're already putting, there's like a smaller space here than I have over here. So I'm putting a lot more pressure on one side of the jelly donut, right? So what happens if you put too much pressure on one side, or you take a bite into your Boston cream donut or jelly donut, right? When you take that push, you're gonna get a little bit of that jelly eventually, possibly, trickle out, right? Or the muscle tissue back here that helps support it get cranked really far back, and they just really don't want to be in that, right? What happens is, again, if we're using these back muscles here rather than having it evenly dispersed, like Awesome Joe here, right? We put a lot more pressure here. We're recruiting them all the time. And what happens is, like anything, if you're getting worked and worked and worked and worked all the time, right, that this side it gets lazy, right? And this side gets overstressed. So when we have that happen, this gets cranky. So people complain all the time, my back hurts, so on and so on. I say, okay, well, let's look at certain things that you're doing, maybe that be from class or anything else. and we change that up so that they can actually get both sides working equally, right? The other way people do burpees is they jump back and they kind of have the, we've all seen it before, right? The bum up, way up in the air like so, right? So you're really not getting much out of it and just putting all that pressure now down here on your shoulders instead, right? So basically, because we're either here or here, and very little of the population is here, getting the Mike Tabor seal of approval, I don't find burpees to be that much of a benefit to people and more of a hindrance or a possible risk of injury, right? So for the average person, if you want to try to do them, by all means, I can't stop you from doing it. I just don't recommend them as far as that goes, right? Same thing from a standpoint of what they actually do for you. They have a high metabolic cost, right? So they require a lot of energy to do them, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to be able to help you bench press more or do anything like that. It just looks like a really cool athletic movement for the most part, right? So that is kind of my ideas on, or my thoughts, opinions on burpees. If you have any questions, comments, as far as that, you can either come see me in person, you can comment down below. I'm happy to discuss anything at any time, toss around some ideas, so please feel free to let me know that and have some open discussion. If you have any other questions about exercise technique or you'd like me to go over in a future Forum Friday, please comment down below, and I look forward to speaking to everybody next Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone.